Jupiter moving into Cancer isn't really what you think it is. With Gemini, we've been focused on socializing, gathering ideas, and sharing them. With Jupiter in Cancer, our overall focus is on emotion. As Jupiter moves into Cancer, get a reevaluation of everything that you were kind of dealing with Mars in Cancer, the recent transit we just had. Hi, and welcome back to the channel. We are a couple days away at the time that I'm filming this from Jupiter moving into Cancer and about a month away from Uranus moving into Gemini. But let's start with the first one. Let's start with Jupiter moving into Cancer and what it means for you. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Kelsey, here to teach you astrology and human design in a simple way you can easily understand. And Jupiter moving into Cancer isn't really what you think it is. Yes, we're going to get expansion in the area of life that you have Cancer ruling, which I'll go over each rising sign for that at the end of the video. In general, Jupiter in Cancer is gonna bring an expansion and abundance to our emotions, especially our emotional health, our family, our intuition, and how we're acting on all of those things. But it can also create this ripe environment for an over-exaggeration of the negative sides of Cancer, which tend to be passive aggression, nostalgia, operating from emotion, throwing logic out the window, maybe creating more turmoil than is necessary in our lives. We can really start to see the emotional mood change with this transit. With Gemini, we've been focused on facts, information, socializing, gathering ideas, and sharing them. With Jupiter in Cancer, our overall focus is on emotion. And Cancer can be a little bit passive aggressive with those emotions, right? So we might see a surgence of that over the next 12 months. Now, as far as how this is going to show up for you personally, you want to refer to where you have Cancer ruling in your chart. This might even bring up themes that you were facing with the Mars retrograde we have in Cancer. The pre-shadow began in October all the way until the beginning of December. And then I believe Mars went back into Cancer in February and was retrograde until the end of February, and then was in Cancer until, I want to say, April. I don't remember the exact dates, but you might, as Jupiter moves into Cancer, get a reevaluation of everything that you were kind of dealing with Mars in Cancer, the recent transit we just had towards the end of last year and early this year. But this focus is not going to be Mars-esque, it's going to be Jupiter-esque, right? So it might be, what is your expansion of this area of your life? What did you do? What did you take action on in this area of your life over the last 6 months that is now getting an expansion? I don't know how many other ways I can say expansion, but that's really what Jupiter represents. It blows up what it touches. So Jupiter being in the sign of Cancer, and yes, Jupiter likes to be in Cancer, but also, like I said, Cancer is a very emotional sign. It's a water sign, it's ruled by the moon, so we're gonna be, as a collective, pretty moody. There might also be a lot of opportunity for emotional blowouts, emotional breakdowns, as when Jupiter first moves into Cancer, it is going to challenge Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and this is a pretty big deal. Whenever we have transits with the outer planets, they are big deals. We all remember the lockdowns of 2020. There was something huge going on with Saturn, Pluto, and the South Node at that time. Transits involving outer planets are huge. They represent the deeper overarching themes of our collective, whereas the inner planets, I talk about this in my Become an Astrologer course. In the lesson that I teach you the transits, I talk about how inner planets are really kind of like our day-to-day moods and events, and outer planet transits are really like overarching themes that propel us into new cycles, kind of force us or push us to evolve and grow in ways that we need, that are often once in a lifetime. And so Jupiter in Cancer squaring Saturn and Neptune in Aries, it's not going to happen again for a very long time. This transit is like the transit we had middle of August last year between Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn in Pisces on steroids. This is almost something we're facing. There's such expansion around it. There's such like, it's in our face, we can't ignore it, but there's also this tendency to want to avoid it and to not be accountable for it, right? This energy is like challenge between what we're trying to face and hold ourselves accountable for, or others others accountable for, and how that directly relates to our ability to expand in the ways that we want to and that we need to right now. Again, look at where you have Cancer in your birth chart, the house for the area this is going to show up for you. It's going to create challenges, conflict between the areas you have Cancer ruling and the areas you have Aries ruling. So for me, I have Aries in my 7th house, I have Cancer in my 10th house. I anticipate this will be a kind of conflict or challenge between what's happening in my relationships with other people in my life and my ability to put energy and time into my work, which has really come to a head lately. I don't know if you've seen my other videos or heard me talk about this anywhere else. I've been talking about this a lot and really openly in my membership because it's a private space and I'm still in the middle of a kind of lawsuit right now. That is how it's been showing up for me. It's really putting pressure on my ability to do what I want to do in my career, right? I'm getting all these ideas and downloads for things I want to create and share with my audience, with you all, and what I want to do, but it also that feels like there's this like thing I can't ignore that's pulling me away from being able to create and share and expand in my career in the ways that I want to. And you know, transits are called transits for a reason. They are transitory. They do not last forever. And it is my belief and background in astrology and how I teach astrology that from an evolutionary perspective, it is all happening for your highest growth and your highest evolution. And so it's kind of propelling you into that in ways that are needed for you to step into your next chapter, which we are all really in the midst of beginning right now, as I've talked about in other videos. But Jupiter moving into Cancer will be this big shift of what we're focused on when it comes to expansion, optimism, abundance, as well as like what's the overarching focus. Like again, Jupiter expands what it touches. It can blow things out of proportion. So just because Jupiter is exalted in Cancer does not mean that's a good thing. I have found in my practice of astrology that a lot of times exaltations are really over exaggerated. I talked about this in my weekly update from this week, the week of June 3rd, I believe. Not all exaltations are good and not all detriments are bad, right? They just kind of mean something. And what they can often mean, especially when it comes to transits, is that that energy is excessively over exaggerated. So we're going to see a big polarization of the energy. We're going to see a big split between the highest evolved version of that energy and the shadow least evolved version of that energy, right? Which I've already spoken to with Jupiter and Cancer is really people being nostalgic, passive aggressive, emotional. There might be emotional outbursts. There might be a whole lot of people not wanting to face things, right? But because Saturn is in Aries on Neptune as well, like we're being forced to face things if we're actively avoiding them. There's gonna be like serious consequences for people who are avoiding taking accountability and responsibility at this time, although they might be so tied up in their emotions they can't fully see that clearly. And that is really the high risk of these transits for the next couple weeks, at least, before Jupiter progresses more into Cancer and is no longer squaring Saturn and Neptune and Aries. But the beginning of that is going to create a lot of challenges and a lot of conflict. And that could really last all the way up until Uranus moves into Gemini the first week of July. I mean, we're going to be experiencing this energy for at least the next month and a half, is that square between Saturn, Neptune, and Jupiter. Not going to be a cozy one, but it is propelling us into that new beginning that we have been stepping more and more towards, that I feel like I've been talking about all year. But with beginnings come endings, and endings are messy. Endings are not just like one and done. Endings take a while, and this whole year is about endings. As I've talked about in other videos, it's a 9-year in numerology represented by Mars, and starting this year off with the Mars retrograde, you know, it's gone a little slower than we anticipated or that we would want, but it is shaping us to be exactly where we need to be, doing exactly what we're meant to be doing. And that's one thing that a personal situation I'm in right now has been teaching me. Like literally no matter what happens, I am deeply, deeply supported and protected. It all is happening for my highest good and in my favor. That's a mantra I've been telling myself for a while. It is also my truth that I'm living now in my reality, and I have like conscious awareness of that truth in my day-to-day because of the way that these things are happening and just how they're transpiring. Every time something new comes about with the situation, I'm like, wow, this serves me too. It might be a little annoying in the moment, but it literally all serves me. It's like I couldn't have planned for this to benefit me more than it is. That's something to just keep in mind with these transits too, is like, I mean, again, that's my view of astrology, is it's all helping you, it's all supporting you, getting you where you need to go in the way that you need to be there to do what you're meant to be doing, right? And to be living your dream, because we've all been building this dream. And this is the year we really start to see it come to fruition, and there might be painful endings around that to get us on that that track, but again, it is fine. It's all divine. That is one of my favorite mantras as well. From this weekend, June 8th until the end of November, we're gonna see a very big progression of Jupiter move through Cancer. It's gonna get pretty much all the way through Cancer before it goes retrograde. So this will give you a big glimpse into how this energy is showing up for you and what it's propelling you into, that maybe is something that's new for you, right? It might be a new emotional relationship with something, or a new creative pursuit with something, or something about your intuition or nudge that you're acting on. And right before Jupiter goes retrograde as well, it's gonna harmonize with Saturn that had retrograded back into Pisces and Neptune that had retrograded back into Pisces. So there is going to be positive things that come from this transit. I don't want you to think it's all doom and gloom, because it's not. It just might be a little rough in the beginning, the next couple weeks, as we get into the summer, as we have the summer solstice approaching. Is that what it's called? The summer solstice or the summer equinox? I feel like I should know that. I don't. But then when Jupiter goes retrograde, we're gonna get to reevaluate and reassess everything that came up from June until November, right? That's what retrogrades are. They come in 3 phases. I have blog posts on this. The first phase is we get to see how that energy shows up for us and how to implement it. Then we reevaluate during the retrograde period. We reassess. Are there changes we want to make? Do we want to go about this differently? And then the post shadow, once Jupiter leaves retrograde and moves forward again, the post shadow, we are implementing everything that we reevaluated and making the necessary changes that are better for us moving forward based on what we kind of assessed internally when it was retrograde. Again, all of this happens for a reason. Jupiter represents 12-year cycles. So this is a big kind of push and expansion, blow up energy for wherever you have Cancer in your chart, which I'll go into now for each rising sign. Aries rising, Jupiter in Cancer is going to be moving into your 4th house. So you might have an expansion or just feel more optimistic about your home, your family life. There might be a real big need for you to nest or to make changes to your home that feel expansive for you, but that might be at odds a little bit at the beginning of this transit with who you are and the identity you are stepping into. Taurus rising, Jupiter will be moving into your 3rd house of communication, of day-to-day errands and routine. So you might just be feeling more this push towards being more motherly in your day-to-day. Whatever you're doing, it might be focused on self-care, it might be focused on caring for others, yourself and others, and balancing those 2 needs. But there's big expansion in terms of like where you're going, who you're talking to on a daily basis, and what you're doing, maybe even in your home as well, that might feel at odds with your spiritual journey, especially at the beginning of this transit. But overall, it will be beneficial for your communication style, your belief systems, and how you're structuring your day-to-day. Gemini, Jupiter is moving into your 2nd house of money. So this is a big focus on what you're doing to make money, how you're making money in ways that nurture or support you, or ways that don't, and you need to weed those out and let them go. There's big potential for abundance, optimism, major expansion in your financial picture if you're acting from your intuition and really doing things in alignment with your heart and your soul. What feels good to you, what feels nurturing and supporting to share and make money from. How can you do more of that? Because it's going to create more. Cancer, Jupiter is moving into your 1st house of you, your appearance. You might be just feeling like a renewed version of yourself. You might be feeling more expansive in how you put yourself together, how you dress, how you do your makeup, how you do your hair. You might just be feeling more like yourself and at home with yourself during this transit. But it could be at odds with what you're doing in your career. There might be a need to reassess that or set some boundaries there in order to have this expansion truly in your sense of self and identity. Leo, Jupiter is moving into your 12th house of spirituality, of past life regression, of subconscious healing. So this is getting a big focus, this area of your life of what can you do to better support yourself in your own healing journey, or in using your spiritual gifts and supporting others and yourself with the use of those spiritual gifts and listening to your intuition. All of that is getting a major focus with this transit of Jupiter into Cancer through your 12th house. Virgo rising, your friendships are getting a huge boost with Jupiter moving into Cancer. You might find yourself going to more events, community gatherings. You might start posting more on social media and it really takes off. This is the energy of Jupiter moving through your 11th house. And again, like I said earlier in the video, this is a once in a 12-year cycle. So this is a pretty big deal. ideal to focus on expansion in this area in ways that it benefits you, that it nurtures you and supports you. You might also be aligning yourself more with supportive friendships who really feel like nourishing for you and really feel wholesome. And you might be aligning yourself more so with long-term goals and visions that feel that way as well. Libra Rising, Jupiter's moving into your 10th house of career and public image. So that area of your life is getting a huge boost. This is the time to be sharing yourself on social media. This is the time to be creating that content and really sharing value in ways that you want to nurture and support your audience, what you want to be known for to the world. Like, this is the time for you to be putting it out there and sharing it in order to really have massive payoffs. Like, this is your viral moment. During this transit is when you could really blow up on social media or in whatever you do for your career, getting that promotion, just feeling more nurtured and supported through the people around you as well because of what you're doing differently. Scorpio Rising, Jupiter is moving into your 9th house of international travel, philosophies of life, higher education. So you could be feeling like going back to school. You could be feeling like taking that trip abroad that feels really nurturing and supportive for you. How this is going to show up personally depends on your life and the rest of your chart. But overall, you will be expanding your horizons of what you thought was possible for yourself. You could really be stepping into a new found philosophy of life and really viewing things from a different perspective than maybe you had before, that's in alignment with what you want to do, your vision moving forward, and that feels more nurturing and supportive than any other perspective of life or reality you've lived in before. Sagittarius, Jupiter is moving into your 8th house of transformation, of the deep psyche, of spiritual gifts, occultism, mediumship, talking to dead people, also of other people's resources, debt, taxes, inheritances. So you could be really feeling more supported and expanded through other people's resources, whether it's like people giving you money, you cashing in on an inheritance, you paying off debt because of unexpected money that came in, anything like that. And it could also create this big internal expansion of listening more to your intuition and maybe even having like a whole spiritual awakening based around what's happening for you. Capricorn Rising, Jupiter will be in your 7th house of relationships. So you might be attracting a lot more people around this time during this transit. You might just have a lot more friendships. You might be feeling more expanded in your relationship as that applies, or your marriage. This could also be a time where you're focused on dating or putting feelers out there to find who your person is, that kind of thing, but it might feel at odds with your home life in some way, maybe for the next month and a half. And then I do see that after the challenge kind of passes with whatever's going on in your home and family, there is going to be a lot of expansion around people that you're meeting, connecting with, that feels really like supportive, whether it's an intimate connection or friendships or all of the above. Like, you're just going to be feeling so much more supported in terms of who's around you and how they're treating you. Aquarius Rising, Jupiter's moving into your 6th house, and I feel like this is going to cause some busyness with work. I feel like you're going to be really busy on a daily basis, taking care of yourself, maybe going to the gym, eating better, as well as establishing a work-life balance or putting feelers out there for a new job that feels more supportive and aligned with what you want to do and your vision and the changes you're making. It does feel like if there hasn't been job opportunities, they could be coming in around this time, or you might just be feeling more expanded in your routine and how you're balancing taking care of yourself with work. Pisces Rising, Jupiter is moving into your 5th house of romance, of dating, of creative passions as well. So you might really be feeling a lot more inspired to create, to share. You might be really nurturing your connection with either romance, dating, or like play and creative passions in some way. Whether that's really taking the time out to paint, if that's something that you love, and putting it out there into the world, starting to share it on social media or whatever. Like, this is the time to be sharing your creative passions with the world, because they are needed, and they're not just going to support you, they're going to support the people that you are here to help with your gifts and share your magic with the world too. So that's all 12 rising signs and how Jupiter could be showing up for you based on your chart. Let me know your rising sign and how this resonated with you in the comments. If you're excited for Jupiter in Cancer, if you have Jupiter in Cancer and this is your Jupiter return, let's chat about it. I'd love to hear from you. And if you want a more intimate space to connect, come check out my VIP inner circle. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!